Bass Pro Shop. My goodness, they sell everything in there.
I'm gonna show you what we got up to in there. Let's go. I don't have words.
Bro.
What are we looking at right now?
Bro, look at the fight. Look, there's a fish in there that's bigger than a shark.
Whoa! Look at that thing.
Boy. God damn.
This is scary.
This shop.
Look at the size of that big boy. I think James has bought me a present and it's ready for me here. James, did you buy it for me? Where's James gone? Can you see him? I can't see him anywhere. They even have a pew-pew range inside of this huge shop, as well as all these grills here.
Okay, I knew that this shop sold a lot of items. I did not realise that they sold boats, side-by-sides, and quad bikes. What in the world? This place is insane.
Is this the actual size of a moose, guys? If so, wow.
You could spend way too long in this shop. Like, it's absolutely incredible.
In front of me, guys, I'm not allowed to show it on TikTok, but I'm looking at a bunch of pew-pews and other stuff, which is insane. I'm in shock. I'm lost for words. This place. Okay, now you can see the pure scale. It's for us and ours. Oh my god, tomatoes!
All right, Carly, how was your first 4th of July?
Brilliant. A sense of patriotism like no other.
Like no other.
Like no other.
The pink's actually cute. You can get a whole for the whole family.
Apparently, this is supposed to be the cleanest gas station bathroom ever. What do we think? Bit strange to be showing you on a TikTok, but you know, I would say very clean.
What is it? Oh, banana pudding. Look at all the sodas you can get. Oh my god. And the huge cups. Oh my god, they have like lemonade, sweets, tortilla factory, Texas Roundup.
Literally so big, like oh my god, they have a leopard print Bucky's Stanley looking cup. That's crazy.
Oh my god, I'm gonna buy. I have to buy.
I'm gonna get one.
I'm gonna get it.
Let's look at all the hot food that they have.
Brisket, that sounds good. Fried chicken sandwich, club melt.
Like, literal, like, it's giving garden center little store, do you know what I mean?
Oh my god, look at those cookies. Oh my goodness. Birthday cake whoopie pie. That looks incredible. Chicken burritos.
They look good. Look at all the ice cream.
Cookie dough. Wow. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Bucky nail file. Bucky swim stuff.
I had no idea. They had like all these clothes. This is crazy.
Road tripping, that's hilarious.
Somebody does.
He's bucket hat. Now that is a tongue twister. Someone convinced me I don't need a Bucky's hairbrush and some jewelry and a blanket. Oh my goodness. Did someone say yeehaw?
I knew Bucky's was like a big gas station, but I didn't realize that it literally has everything you could ever need in the entire world. Like, I don't know what they don't have, genuinely.
They have hats. Don't even tempt me with a good time, because why are these actually so cute? Look at that truck. That's hilarious. Curling iron, pimple patches, bath bombs. Look at these bags. This is cute. One purchase of Bucky's.
That was so much fun. Would recommend.
Thousands of British football fans believe they already knew exactly what America would be like. Before the 2026 FIFA World Cup even began, opinions were everywhere. Television debates, football podcasts, YouTube comments, and social media were filled with people claiming the football atmosphere will never compare to England. Americans don't understand the beautiful game. This World Cup will never feel authentic. Those opinions spread so widely that many supporters boarded their flights expecting to confirm everything they had already heard. They imagined modern stadiums, expensive cities, and a country that simply couldn't match Europe's football culture. But the moment they arrived, those expectations began to fall apart, one after another. For many British supporters, the first surprise came before they even left the airport. Arrival halls were already packed with football fans from every continent. England, Scotland, Germany, Spain, Brazil, Argentina, Japan, Mexico, and dozens of other nations. Complete strangers were smiling at one another, exchanging scarves, taking photos, and talking about the matches ahead. It didn't feel like arriving in a foreign country. It felt like walking into one giant international football festival. Every few minutes, another group of supporters broke into song. Flags waved proudly through the terminals, airport staff welcomed visitors with excitement, and volunteers were already helping fans find transportation to hotels and stadiums. Many British visitors quietly admitted, "This is much bigger than we imagined." And that was only the beginning. The drive into the city created another unforgettable first impression. Towering skyscrapers reflected the morning sunlight, giant highways stretched across the horizon, digital billboards welcomed football fans from around the world. And every few blocks, another World Cup banner reminded everyone that history was about to be made. British supporters had seen New York, Miami, Dallas, Los Angeles, and other American cities countless times in films and television. But standing there in person, surrounded by thousands of football fans, felt completely different. Cameras came out almost immediately. Travel vlogs began recording, and within hours, social media started filling with videos titled, "Our First Day in America." Those videos quickly attracted millions of views back home, because the reactions were nothing like people expected. Instead of criticism, viewers saw genuine excitement, smiles, and complete amazement. The following morning, the excitement became even more real. British supporters woke up knowing this wasn't just another holiday. It was the beginning of a once-in-a-lifetime football adventure. Hotels were buzzing with fans wearing England shirts, cafes were packed before breakfast, and conversations about team lineups filled every corner of the city. Some supporters had traveled thousands of miles with lifelong friends, while others had come alone, hoping to meet fellow football lovers along the way. Surprisingly, nobody stayed a stranger for very long. A simple football shirt, or a national flag, was enough to start a conversation. Within minutes, complete strangers were laughing together, sharing travel tips, comparing predictions, and making plans to meet again at the stadium later that evening. As they stepped onto the streets, another surprise was waiting. America wasn't simply preparing for the World Cup, it was living it. Public squares had been transformed into giant fan zones. Huge screens replayed classic World Cup moments. Live music echoed through the streets. Food trucks served supporters from every country, and local businesses proudly displayed flags from across the world. British fans had expected football to be limited to the stadiums. Instead, they discovered that the celebration stretched across entire cities. Families walked around wearing football jerseys, children kicked balls through public parks, and street performers entertained crowds with football freestyle shows. Everywhere they looked, there was another reason to stop, smile, and capture the moment on camera. One supporter from Manchester laughed during a travel vlog and said, "Mate, this feels like the whole city has become one giant football festival." Within hours, that clip had spread across social media, proving once again that reality was very different from the expectations many people had before arriving. The biggest surprise, however, wasn't the stadiums or the entertainment. It was the people. British supporters often admitted they expected Americans to be polite, but not particularly interested in football. Instead, they found something completely different. Restaurant owners proudly asked visitors which team they were supporting. Coffee shop workers wanted score predictions. Taxi drivers happily discussed England's chances of winning the tournament. Hotel staff recommended the best fan zones, and volunteers patiently helped tourists navigate unfamiliar transport systems. None of these moments were part of the official event. They were simple, genuine interactions, that slowly changed how many visitors viewed the country. Every friendly conversation replaced another stereotype. Every smile made the trip feel more personal. And before a single ball had even been kicked, thousands of British supporters were already saying something they never expected to say. America has been incredible so far. Little did they know, the most unforgettable part of the journey was still waiting for them, because nothing could prepare them. For their very first World Cup match inside an American stadium, the hours before kickoff felt almost as exciting as the match itself. British supporters poured into the streets wearing England shirts, waving Union Jack flags, and singing the same chants they had sung for years back home. But this time, something was different. Instead of hearing only English voices, they were surrounded by fans from every corner of the world. Brazilians danced to the beat of drums. Argentinians filled the air with passionate songs. Mexican supporters turned every street into a celebration. Dutch fans arrived in a sea of orange, while Japanese families politely greeted everyone they passed. It didn't matter which nation anyone supported, because for one unforgettable day, football had united them all. Many British fans stopped for a moment, looked around, and realized they had never experienced anything quite like it. It wasn't just a football crowd. It was the entire world gathered in one place. As they got closer to the stadium, the atmosphere became almost impossible to describe. Every block brought louder chants, bigger crowds, and even more excitement. Giant fan parks were overflowing with supporters. Street performers entertained thousands of people. Local bands played football anthems. Food stalls offered everything from classic American barbecue to international dishes inspired by the visiting nations. The smell of grilled food filled the air. Cameras were recording every second, and social media feeds exploded with live videos showing millions of people back home exactly what was happening. Many British supporters admitted later, "We expected a sporting event, but this felt more like the biggest festival we've ever attended." The energy outside the stadium alone would have been enough to make the journey worthwhile. Then came the moment they had dreamed about for years. The stadium gates slowly opened. Thousands of supporters walked forward together. Tickets in hand, hearts racing, and phones already recording. As British fans stepped inside, many instinctively stopped walking. The view in front of them was breathtaking. A perfectly prepared pitch, massive video screens, thousands upon thousands of colorful seats, and an atmosphere that grew louder with every passing second. Some supporters stood silently, taking everything in. Others smiled at each other in disbelief, quietly saying, "This is absolutely incredible." When the players finally emerged from the tunnel, the roar shook the entire stadium. National anthems echoed through the air, scarves rose above thousands of heads, and for a few unforgettable minutes, nothing else in the world seemed to matter. Every doubt they had before traveling to America disappeared completely. Because in that moment, they weren't comparing America to England anymore. They were simply living one of the greatest football experiences of their lives. And as the referee prepared to blow the opening whistle, every British supporter knew this was a memory they would carry forever. When the referee finally blew the opening whistle, every conversation, every prediction, and every online debate disappeared in an instant. For the next 90 minutes, nothing mattered except the game. Every pass was followed by thousands of eyes. Every tackle brought a roar from the crowd. Every attack made supporters rise from their seats. British fans who had questioned whether America could create a true football atmosphere suddenly found themselves shouting louder than they ever had before. The energy inside the stadium was constant. It never faded. Every section of the crowd played its part. Families, lifelong football supporters, first-time visitors, and fans from dozens of different countries all reacted together. First-time visitors and fans from dozens of different countries all reacted together, creating an atmosphere that felt both unique and unforgettable. It wasn't trying to copy Wembley, Old Trafford, or Anfield. It had created something completely its own, and that was exactly what made it so special. Then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. A perfectly timed attack, a brilliant pass, and suddenly, the ball hit the back of the net. For a split second, there was complete silence, followed by an explosion of noise that shook the entire stadium. British supporters jumped into the arms of complete strangers. Drinks flew into the air. Flags waved from every direction, and thousands of phones captured a celebration that would be replayed for years to come. It didn't matter whether the person standing beside you came from London, Manchester, Birmingham, New York, Mexico City, or Tokyo. Everyone celebrated together, united by one unforgettable moment. Later, many British fans admitted, "That goal celebration gave us goosebumps." Others described it as one of the greatest sporting moments they had ever experienced, because the emotion inside the stadium simply couldn't be explained through television screens. When the match finally ended, nobody rushed for the exits. Instead, thousands of supporters remained in their seats, taking one last look around the stadium, recording videos, singing football songs, and trying to hold on to the moment for just a little longer. Outside, the celebration continued late into the night. Streets filled with smiling fans, restaurants overflowed with supporters discussing every key moment, musicians performed in crowded public squares, and complete strangers congratulated one another regardless of which team they supported. British fans had expected to spend 90 minutes watching football. Instead, they had experienced an entire day filled with excitement, friendship, and unforgettable memories. As one supporter said while ending his travel vlog, "If this is only the beginning of the World Cup, I honestly don't know how I'm ever going to want to leave this place." And that simple sentence perfectly captured what thousands of other British fans were quietly beginning to feel. America was no longer just the host of the World Cup. It was becoming a place they genuinely didn't want to say goodbye to. The days that followed changed the trip into something far bigger than a football vacation. Every new host city offered another reason to stay just a little longer. British supporters who had planned to spend all their time inside stadiums suddenly found themselves exploring places they had never imagined visiting. They walked through lively downtown streets, visited famous landmarks, relaxed by beautiful waterfronts, discovered local neighborhoods, and experienced a side of America that rarely appears in headlines. Every city had its own personality. One was fast and energetic, another felt relaxed and welcoming, while another blended modern skyscrapers with rich history. Instead of feeling like they were traveling through one country, many fans said it felt like visiting several completely different destinations, all connected by one incredible tournament. Another surprise came from the friendships they built along the way. It started with simple conversations while waiting in line for coffee, chatting on trains, sharing tables in restaurants, or celebrating together after a dramatic match. But those short conversations quickly turned into something much bigger. English supporters exchanged scarves with fans from Argentina. A family from Liverpool spent an afternoon sightseeing with visitors from Germany. Groups from London were invited to local barbecues by American football fans. And people who had never met before were suddenly making plans to attend the next match together. One British couple later said, "We came here hoping to collect memories, but somehow we collected friends instead." That single comment perfectly reflected what thousands of other visitors were experiencing. The World Cup wasn't just creating unforgettable football moments. It was creating connections that crossed languages, cultures, and borders. As more reaction videos appeared online, the internet began noticing something unusual. The same British creators who had arrived with skepticism were now uploading videos with titles like, "America completely surprised us. Everything we believed was wrong, and we already miss America." Millions of people watched those videos, not because of the football, but because the reactions felt genuine. Viewers saw supporters laughing with local families, exploring beautiful cities, enjoying American food, and talking about how welcome they felt everywhere they went. The comment sections were flooded with messages saying, "Now I want to visit too. This changed my opinion completely. Maybe we judged America too quickly." Without even trying, those British fans had become ambassadors for an experience they never expected to have. And with every new match, every new city, and every new friendship, one feeling continued to grow stronger. The countdown to the flight home no longer felt exciting. It felt heartbreaking, because for the first time, many British supporters were quietly asking themselves a question they had never expected to ask. What if we stayed a little longer? As the tournament moved toward its unforgettable conclusion, the excitement inside the stadiums only grew stronger, but outside the stadiums, something even more meaningful was happening. British supporters had stopped talking about America as a place they were simply visiting. They were now talking about it as a place they could genuinely imagine living. It started as a joke between friends. Maybe we should miss our flight. I could actually get used to this. But after days of exploring the cities, meeting welcoming people, and experiencing a completely different lifestyle, those jokes slowly became real conversations. Some fans spoke about the career opportunities they had discovered. Others loved the open spaces, the modern cities, the year-round entertainment, and the feeling that every host city offered a completely different way of life. For many, America no longer felt unfamiliar. It felt surprisingly comfortable, and that realization caught them completely off guard. The biggest lesson they took home had nothing to do with football tactics, match results, or even the team that eventually lifted the trophy. It was the realization that sometimes, the opinions we form without personal experience can be completely wrong. Before arriving, many British supporters believed they already understood America through television, newspapers, documentaries, and social media. But after spending weeks traveling across the country, they discovered that real life was far more welcoming, more exciting, and more memorable than they had imagined. Every friendly conversation, every unforgettable match day, every road trip between host cities, and every shared celebration slowly replaced old assumptions with real experiences. That transformation became one of the greatest stories of the entire tournament, and perhaps, one of the greatest victories that football could ever achieve. Then, the day everyone had been avoiding finally arrived. Departure Day. Airports were once again filled with football shirts, national flags, and suitcases overflowing with souvenirs. But this time, the atmosphere felt very different from the day they had arrived. The excitement had been replaced by emotion. British supporters hugged the friends they had made during the tournament, exchanged phone numbers, promised to visit one another again, and took one final look at the country that had completely changed their expectations. Sitting beside the departure gate, many quietly scrolled through hundreds of photos and videos on their phones. Every picture reminded them of another unforgettable moment, another incredible city, another match, another friendship, and another reason they wished the journey wasn't ending. As the boarding announcement echoed through the terminal, one supporter smiled, looked back through the airport window, and softly said, "We came to America expecting a great World Cup, but we're leaving with something far more valuable, memories that will stay with us for the rest of our lives." And perhaps, that simple sentence explained why so many British fans didn't want to go back, because they hadn't just fallen in love with the football, they had fallen in love with the experience, and with a country that welcomed them far more warmly than they had ever imagined. If you enjoyed this journey, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because we bring you the most fascinating football stories and unforgettable fan reactions from around the world. Now tell us in the comments, if you had the chance to move to another country after visiting it, which country would you choose, and why? We can't wait to read your thoughts.